We got to get to Borge. It is time for us to speak to George Mienie, who joined us. Yes.
This is what remember I was saying before about being able to choose being gay. If George and I could,
this is not how you start the segment, George.
George, I would hate you for being so attractive and successful if you weren't the nicest dude in the world.
Thanks, Gord. Hello, Ben.
Good to see you, bro.
Hey, George.
Here we are. It's a bunch of guys this Friday, and so it's appropriate to talk about cars as well. So it's always good to see you, George, because it means that the weekend is finally upon us. What do you got for us on the agenda?
Well, first thing is, some people do odd experiments, and I don't know why. Some people, maybe they've just got too much money, but it does make us laugh.
What kind of experiments? I mean, you've shown us some of these cars people build in their garages.
Exactly.
And they turn a car into a boat, into a car. It's the weird amphibian stuff that they do. They're trying to make flying cars. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly what I'm talking about. So you get these crews that do things for the fun of it. And this crew at a place called Garage 54, they decided to do an experiment to see what would happen if all four wheels of a car came off all at the same time.
All right. So what happened?
They rigged it to do this, or
they rigged it to do it? Yes.
Okay.
So they took this car, this old clapped out car, sent it careering down a obviously deserted part of some road somewhere. It was vacuum pressurized, so the wheels were rigged to have not have nuts and bolts in the vac, so that they could make the wheels come off all at the same time. And the car came to a complete stop without any issues, because all four wheels came off at the same time. So it just proved that if all four wheels of your car come off at the same time, you'll be okay. If one wheel comes off, you won't be okay.
I was about to say, do they have to all exactly at the same time come off? Because I mean, I'm not like being entirely full of shit. So you rig it so that it like releases all four at the same time. But if one kind of doesn't come off as easily as the other, so you're going to do a 100-ton somersault, and if they all just if they just hydraulically ping at the same time, the car's like, eh. So the key so what we need, instead of ejector seats, we need, when you're getting in an accident, the release all wheels button.
Love it.
Yeah, correct. Release all wheels.
I'm pretty sure the car's going to come to a stop a lot quicker if all four wheels come off at the same time, because you've got this thing bottoming out on
this is like information that no one needs, but it's cool to have.
All right, very good.
Exactly. And then Gareth, this was a funny story. There was this couple, and this story surfaced on Reddit, which is just a funny story. It's called The Cab and the Grandma. So this person writes, my husband and I were dressed ready to go out for a lovely evening for dinner. And having a break-in in the past, they put a nightlight on with an answering machine, and they decided to put they had a cat in the backyard.
Okay.
So when the cab driver arrived, they walked out the front door, and their little tabby cat ran in between their legs into the house again, and the cat wanted to go and chase the caged bird that they had. So the taxi driver was waiting, and so the husband went and chased the cat, and the wife went down to the cab driver and explained that the husband will be back momentarily, but just bidding good night to her mother.
This is a terrible story so far. I mean, I'm not excited by it. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm expecting a punchline, and I'm like, is this going to be tragically horrific with a dead cat and a bereaved person? Let's hear the rest. George,
hear the rest. Wait. Just bide your time. So anyway, so say goodbye to her mother. The husband comes back, done and dusted, gets into the cab and says, honey, sorry it took so long, but the stupid bitch was hiding under the bed. I had to poke her ass with a coat hanger to get her to come out. She tried to take off, so I grabbed her by the neck. I then wrapped a blanket around her because she wanted to scratch me. And it worked. I hauled her fat ass down the stairs and threw her in the backyard. She better not shit in the vegetable garden. There was silence in the
And
taxi.
you're talking about the cat and not the old lady, because someone just said that last. I'm like, no, okay, it's a pretty straightforward story.
I like that. All right. No, you redeemed yourself completely.
Although
George.
it does sound like an effective way to get rid of like an obstinate old person, because old people get to a point, and I'm not saying old people should be mistreated. They need to be cared for. So when they're like not quite all there, sometimes they want to go and like, fist fight the shower or punch through the glass wall, or, you have to be like, come on, no, it's all right. It's all right. So they got to be ways where they start resisting things they need. Like if you've got to get your very old relative to like the doctor for something important, and they're fighting and scratching because they're imagining like they're back in World War II now, you might do well to wrap them in a blanket, pick them up. Like, I'm not suggesting we do this, but it is feasible that you might have been talking about a real old person.
Just stop right there, because Gord, what you're talking about is a gross human rights violation. But okay.
No, I know that. That's why I'm saying I could visualize George talking about this as if it's real. It would just be a very, very inhumane way to deal with your elderly dependent.
Exactly.
Or any insights on when the Tesla Roadster SpaceX model will be released, says Congo Chris.
The Tesla Roadster SpaceX model? No, not to my knowledge. I know a bit, but I don't know that.
All right.
So
what is
wheels
that?
coming off? Sorry, this all four wheels coming off thing is a great analogy for our times. Good to know we're going to be okay-ish.
Yeah, we're fine as long as all the wheels come off and quickly. If they come off slowly, it's a problem.
All right.
But what is a SpaceX model Tesla? What's it supposed to be? It sounds awesome. Does it fly, or is it just branded to be cooler than the others?
Well, it's the first I hear of a SpaceX model Tesla, so I'm going to go do some research after this.
All right. Yeah, George always does, and then he messages me like later on in the show. He's like, "Oh, here's what it is," and then we throw it on the next week. So stand by. We'll have more for you next week. All right, George. But what else have you got?
So I didn't know that this animal existed called a Javelina, which is a pig, I think.
I was about to say that's a pig, bro.
Exactly. So this Javelina in Arizona, the boot of the Subaru was left open.
I've actually dated that exact one, but please continue. His name starts with a D, but I won't give any more away.
This Subaru's boot was left open, and this Javelina decided that it was going to chase a packet of Cheetos. Now, Cheetos is a packet of chips in America. A packet of Cheetos. So it jumped into the car, and somehow the boot closed, and this Javelina was stuck in the car. So in an attempt to get out of the car, the thing started panicking. Ripped half the dashboard apart, but in the process, knocked the car into neutral. Car ran down the road a couple of blocks, knocked into something, and came to a stop. But apparently this guy's car was trashed inside from this pig. So basically the pig essentially drove the car. One of Parallel Parking says it's pronounced Javelina, but... Cool. Like I was imagining that this thing got in the boot and then closed the boot somehow, and then some ordinary person was driving home with their groceries, and then they went to get the groceries out the boot and open it, and a furry Javelina jumps out, angry and confused. Like, I put my bags in, I go and do something, I can drive home, and I open, and a wild, angry pig, like the one I used to date, jumps out and attacks your face. So it could have been worse. Like the pig accidentally putting the car in neutral is bad, but it could be a lot worse having a pig accidentally in your car. Exactly.
I'm just glad I know what I'm just glad I know what a Javelina is, and I know how to pronounce it too. You see, we wouldn't learn these things if we didn't do these Fridays.
Exactly. And then last week, I don't know if you recall, Gareth, but Sven, I don't know if Sven is listening. He mentioned the C40 Volvo.
Yes, I remember that. And you had some additional information to give.
Yes, so the C40 Volvo does in fact exist in other countries in the world, but it does not exist in South Africa. Whether it's going to come here or not remains to be seen. But I thought I'd mention that Sven was in fact right. The C40 Volvo it does exist. It just doesn't exist in South Africa.
First time you said that, I was like, "What is a C40 Evolve O?" Like, is that an ordinary O who evolves in a C40? Like, the C40 evolved? Oh, you mean a car. I got you. So that's how ignorant about cars I am.
let's wrap up this morning's fun, and it's been really cool to have Ben, Gord, and George in one show. So let's just wrap up this morning's fun by having a quick round the room quiz. Everybody, you get to choose somewhere on the scale what kind of a parent you think you are. Using the scale provided, how good are you at keeping your children at home? At the far end of 0, we have the McCanns, whose daughter Madeline McCann went missing, and they just never bothered to look for her after that. And then you've got on the other side someone who kept their children at home and really didn't allow them to leave at all, Joseph Fritzl. So I'd think the healthiest position is probably about a 5, right? Is that your estimation there too, gentlemen?
As I officially distance myself from this line of humor, I have no children and therefore I'm not on the scale. So, well, none that I'm aware of except for the one I'm fleeing from. But again, we don't know if it's mine or if she's actually even pregnant. But other than that one, I can't comment on this. So you guys talk about this and get cancelled.
Where are you on the scale here, Ben?
I would rather go back to just Gord's globetrotting / so George, you weren't on the show earlier, obviously, but Gord, essentially what we believe, and this is all speculation currently, like most good things in the show.
Oh, it's
Gord
all speculation, no matter what she told you.
Yeah, so Gord has left lovely sea points and lovely apartment where he rollerblades and boxes shirtless to now live in like small cubicles for the next 4 months. In various European cities. So I think he's got someone up the duff and he's on the run. Because I mean, he's in 4 months he's staying in 5 different places, of which there were air quotes where he said like, I'm going to Dublin, Stuttgart. Yeah. I mean, he was literally just making up names, but he's on the run. Gordon, I wish you all the best, but I'm
in Blackberry, man. You got me.
I know. I've always believed you'd be a good dad, though, Gord.
I think a bank robbery is going to surface.
I mean, look, if any of them ever do track me down, I will try to be a good dad, Ben.
Of course you will be. I think you're ready. I mean, you're not like a Joseph Fritzl already, but I think you're ready.
But he's just by definition, he's a deadbeat dad if he's trying to avoid responsibility. So, Gord, not a great example for a Friday morning. Have an excellent day, gentlemen. It's great to have you all on. And George, thank you for telling us about Javelinas. I mean, who would have known?
Just watch out for Javelinas in the boot, dudes. If you feel a rattly in the boot, open it sort of sideways so that it leaps out and not at. You know what I mean? Because Javelinas are a real problem.
I'm going to ask if I can get Javelina bacon this weekend somewhere. I reckon that's a niche. That will be delightful.
Right. Very good.
Hey, thanks for having us, dude. So good to see you.